Dwayne. Dwayne Johnson. I've been so hard to this guy in a couple of videos that I made when I saw some of his movies. I mean, the last two movies I saw with Dwayne Johnson were both Rampage and Jumanji. And I freaking hated those movies. And unfortunately, Dwayne Johnson was no help on these kind of movies. And thinking back, the way I expressed my opinions on these movies, I think it could probably make people think that I hate Dwayne Johnson. When every single time I try to clarify that I don't hate Dwayne Johnson. I don't hate him. What I hate about Dwayne Johnson is how they don't use him properly. Considering that despite being a little bit of a wooden actor, he still has a little bit of charisma and a little bit of acting chops. So he's a likable dude. I can understand that. A little bit overpaid, but okay. So I was kind of thinking that maybe Dwayne Johnson wasn't in the correct roles that he was. That is until I saw the trailer of the movie that I went to see today, which is Skyscraper. And into my head, I was thinking, alright, that's the kind of movie I was expecting from Dwayne Johnson. I didn't care if the plot was gonna be stupid, but it was something that it was on his territory. Being an action hero. being this guy who is kind of like, let's say that is the next Schwarzenegger, Seagulls, Van Damme, this kind of like popcorn action flicks. I didn't care if some of the logic will jump out of the window, but at least give out some level of respect to your audience. Unlike Jumanji or unlike Rampage, with both were garbage. What I'm trying to say out over all this is that Dwayne, if you're hearing this, I'm sorry. Because finally, Skyscraper might not be the best movie in the world, but it was a lot of fun. And I'm glad. I'm really glad that I finally found a Dwayne Johnson film that I legitimately enjoy. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with Skyscraper. It's technically, again, not the best of the movies, and it's one of those movies in which, even if you turn down your brain, you don't feel like an idiot or insulted. Or sometimes you have Dwayne Johnson's charisma being shoved down on your throat. Because at least, this is the good thing about Skyscraper. So, how can I best describe this film? Because the best way I can describe Skyscraper is technically Die Hard 2.0. Or it feels like a spin-off of Die Hard, because when you watch the whole movie, jeez, it kind of feels like it is its own territory, or somehow it feels like a reboot of Die Hard, or how can I explain this? Well, you know what? Somehow I think that the Die Hard knockoff should be its own genre. So get this. The movie it starts off a little bit of a flashback in which Dwayne Johnson played this guy. What was it called? I got it here on IMDb. Even they have the name. A guy named Will Sawyer. He was kind of like this SWAT team FBI agent who he had an unsuccessful hostage rescue mission in which the hostage he managed to blow himself up with all the kids and the mother inside that cabin, and well, that incident left Dwayne Johnson not only meeting the love of his life, which is who was the surgeon of that time, the surgeon played by Nev Campbell. He also lost his leg. So you saw just see it on the trailer that Dwayne Johnson is playing some guy who lost his leg, and he has to wear prosthetics. And well, 10 years later, we jump to the future in which the whole movie takes place in China, where they build apparently kind of like an upgrade of Nakatomi Plaza, which is a giant building in China. Like I said, that's very huge. I think it's like 378 floors. They say that it has all the technological advances. It has a zoo. It has a park. It has a residence area. It is really kind of like a millionaire's wet dream. The funny thing is that in my head, I could wonder Eric Cartman just saying, "Oh no, the Chinese beat us again." No offense. But the thing is that Dwayne Johnson, he takes a job there as a security manager. He has the surgeon that he met. He's now married with her, and they have children, twins apparently. I didn't notice if they were twins or not, but I mean they look alike, but they have a little bit of height difference or something like that. So hardly twins, I will call it. Okay, that's a little bit of a nitpick. And you see this whole building in which it's really even protected. It is really fireproof. It's fireproof. They don't collapse when one floor is on fire. It's really secure. And the head of this guy is this rich Chinese guy who is really proud of the building, kind of like the Japanese guy from Die Hard, but with a little difference. So if you know where I'm going. The movie goes like this. Yep, they have this huge building, and then terrorists hijacks the whole building. The ones that are inside are in trouble. They can't get out, and the Dwayne Johnson family is inside. Dwayne Johnson somehow gets outside, and it's up to Dwayne Johnson to save them. That's pretty much the whole gist of the whole movie in an easy way. And yeah, the movie kind of have everything. Sometimes they needed Dwayne Johnson because he had the electronic security measures on a tablet. The family who were not supposed to be part of the problem, they get involved into it, and yeah, the criminals are mostly looking for the head Chinese guy because, well, he has this MacGuffin. well, it is. Let's say that it is a very specific big USB hard disk drive that has all the information of those criminals. And yeah, the criminals are what was it, Scandinavians or Slovakians. They have this kind of like German accent. That's pretty much I could pinpoint or from what I can remember. And I dig it. I dug the whole movie because I just thought that okay, maybe it goes into familiar territory if you watch Die Hard enough times. I don't mind. I don't mind as long as it doesn't do something really stupid to the point that it made me feel like an idiot. And it didn't. It didn't. And this is one of the few times that I finally managed to see some of the charisma that Dwayne Johnson has. In this case, Dwayne Johnson acts as a very simple but yet likable character. His family is likable. The other characters, let's say that they're all kind of like the good guys, bad guys, route. There's and yeah, I have everything. We got the boss who at least he has some military tactics compared to Hans Gruber. There's also kind of like the right hand chick. That chick, let's say that it's kind of like the most dangerous of all of them. And also the movie also needs had to have Dwayne Johnson being a scapegoat for the police. They think that he is part of it, so they try to stop him. But man, Dwayne Johnson. Ah, sorry. If that I begin to think about the crazy stuff that happens in this movie because whoa, if you've seen the trailers, you're gonna know that there is this infamous scene in which Dwayne Johnson just jumped kind of like 96 floors, 96 floors to enter the building from a crane. That is kind of crazy. I mean, I know that nobody can jump that far unless it's Super Mario. But doesn't matter. I bought it. I can buy it that if Dwayne Johnson is our real life anime hero, because that's the point of action. That's the point of action movies. Action movies are supposed to have our heroes kind of do impossible stunts or probably possible stunts, but they're hard to do. I mean, how many times John McClane almost died in Die Hard, and technically some of the elements that it appears on in the movie, it kind of shows that there is a big similarity between what was the name again? Will Sawyer and John McClane. Both they show they're afraid, but they have to grit their fears. Both also have their handicap, let's say. I mean, Dwayne Johnson had the prosthetic leg, and Bruce Willis on that movie, he had to go through the whole movie without bare naked on his shoes. I mean, sorry, I didn't say it right. Without shoes or socks, bare feet. That was the correct word. Word. And yeah, it also goes into some. I think there was a moment in which it felt really familiar to the Die Hard. I'm not gonna say exactly what it is. The only clue that I'll give you is that it involves kind of tying up a post and trying to go down at the building, something like that. That's another one of those. This sounds familiar, like Die Hard. probably somebody who has their brain turned on kind of pinpoints some of those weird moments or weird mistakes that you can find in this movie, and sometimes you might find some kind of logical fallacy on this whole plan that the criminals have. In this case, the criminals technically they trap themselves in because in order to not let anyone interfere with the whole by having the cops running into the upper floor, they just decided to set the first kind of the 96th floor on fire, and and since they managed to hack the whole security system in order to prevent the fire hazard security do its job. So the movie kind of it becomes a little bit of a time bomb that the building is gonna raise the fire up and up, and you might be questioning, okay, maybe these guys they have a way for escaping, because man, many things can go wrong if you're trapped in a building and you can't get out. Don't worry, the criminals are still prepared, sort of. I mean, they did explain that at first they wanted to use the helicopter, but the helicopter then is a no-go. But later they kind of they find out that they have parachutes. You know what? That kind of gave me the idea. I know that I'm gonna go a little bit on a very touchy territory, well, considering that something that happened years ago. But that always made me think that, don't you think that it will be convenient if we had parachutes on the top of buildings? Because anything can happen when you're high in the sky, and if you're trapped, then what you're gonna do? I mean, there must be a way to try to jump and land safely on the ground on high altitude. Maybe it's just me. Okay, a little bit of a touchy subject is that years ago I went to the Twin Towers. Not before 9/11, just in case. I always had that thought when I looked down, because I was on the top of those Twin Towers. It was really, really high. When that happened, or when the incident happened, it's not very nice to remember. I understand that. But somehow, I always came into my mind that would it be convenient to have parachutes on the upper floors of big buildings? If somebody should tell me if it's convenient or not. I mean, if these guys can't have the idea, then why shouldn't we? Let me know. Please let me know. Let me comment comment. I know that it's kind of touchy, but I had to get it out of my mind. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. Another thing that this movie kind of plays out like any other movies, that it is kind of self-aware also, that that elements that you're gonna see on the movie is gonna come back to haunt the climax of the movie. Even the little things, and I'm actually glad about that. That sometimes it's good to have an event that could lead to another. In the case of this movie is, well, the hostage situation from the first movie, the wife trying to reboot her smartphone because it wasn't working, so on. Oh, another thing that I really like about the movie is that usually these kind of movies, they always have to rely on a damsel in distress. And yeah, it's typical. It's kind of like a trope on these kind of movies. And you know what? It didn't go too much there, because at least Nev Campbell, she was competent enough. Sorry you hear that voice. It was my aunt talking to somebody else. Okay. So that's, if you think about it, it's not a movie that I have to talk too much. It's just a popcorn flick that finally made me realize how I did enjoy Dwayne Johnson. I'm hoping that at least this gives you proof that I don't hate the guy. I don't hate him. I like him. Please, I don't hate him. I'm sorry. I'm glad. I'm still glad that I saw this movie. But you know what? It's not. Take it as a rental. If it's for movie merits, it's a rental indeed. And I gotta agree with movie reviewer saying that this will have been a better experience if it was on IMAX, because there was some great shot of watching the altitude of how high this skyscraper is. Man, I mean, even if it's on the trailer, that crane scene it was really pumping. There were some great moments. Well, you know what? That's it. I have nothing much to say. Congratulations, Dwayne Johnson. You finally are in a movie where you belong. Even though it might be a die-hard knockout, and you're just gonna enjoy it again. So thank you everyone for watching. And you know what? Come to think of it, the only thing that this movie lacks is having Dwayne Johnson saying, "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker."